So the world is in crisis. We are actually facing many crises today. We're going to cover the 7 crises and how you can thrive and survive in these crises. We're going to give you practical tips that is going to hopefully you can take home and actually apply yourself. And we're going to give you knowledge and information. This is the key to surviving these current crises. So we've got a cost of living crisis, we've got an environmental crisis, we've got a corona crisis. We're just coming out on the back of the world epidemic. We've got a mental health crisis. More people are committing suicide than ever before. We've got a political crisis. We've got an economic crisis. It can seem really daunting, but we're going to give you practical steps to actually help and thrive, survive and thrive in these tough times. And the actual way to survive is to own yourself first, take responsibility, be proactive, and to pay yourself first. Actually having somehow to have savings and investing is actually going to be the way to help you survive these cost of living crisis and the way that to actually improve your life going forward. So stay right here, stay right to the end. We're going to give a free gift at the end if you stay. And we're essentially going to give away some valuable tips and to help you improve your life, to get you through this cost of living crisis, to get you through this environmental crisis, getting you through the mental health crisis and the economic crisis. We've come through the deepest, darkest recession on history. So I was on Times Radio. I was asked to appear on Times Radio, and they asked me to speak on the day that the UK went into recession. So I was speaking to the nation on radio, and they asked me, how do I feel about, or what do we do about this environmental crisis, this economical crisis, this political crisis that we're all facing? And I gave away some tips that essentially I'm going to tell you today. So stay right there. So yeah, so let's go through them each in turn. So the cost of living crisis. So inflation is at highest for decades. So it's never been so high. So it's around 10% at the moment, and it's predicted by Bloomberg to go up to 20% inflation. So what is inflation? So it's how much things cost. So you might notice it already in your energy bills. They've gone up. You might have noticed in you go to the shops, food prices are going up. You might notice if you fill your car up at the petrol station. So these are all increasing as we speak. And these are a number of reasons why this has happened. So there's a number of reasons. So coronavirus, we've had lockdown, and there's lots of supply delays. So this has caused a lot of people chasing similar, the same money chasing less goods. So less goods are coming in from China. There's lots of shipping delays, and this means that more people are competing over the same number of goods, and this has pushed the price up of many goods. So you might have known this if you've ever bought on Amazon, and this is essentially going to increase the cost of everything. So that's one reason why there's a cost of living crisis. So the other cost of living crisis cause is the amount of money printing that's gone on. If you've ever heard of how much money has been printed in the economy. So during the recession, loads of money was printed. It's called quantitative easing, where there was £875 billion in the UK that was printed by the Bank of England. And this means that there's more money flowing around in circulation. And this means that this has increased the price of everything, basically. That's another reason why everything's going up in price. So another reason is Russia has had a big impact. So to do with Ukraine, Russia invaded Ukraine, and there's a lot of crisis. So Russia controls a lot of gas, so natural gas, and that means that if they've turned the taps off into Europe, that means that there's less gas available. So it's all supply and demand. So I used to work as an energy trader for Shell Energy, and I used to actually balance the European gas. So I've made hundreds of thousands of pounds every day trading the gas markets. And essentially, one of the reasons at the moment is that Russia's invading Ukraine, and that's meant that there's less gas available. And if you understand economics, supply and demand, so if there's less supply of gas available and same demand, that's going to push the price up. So that's actually caused a lot of prices to go up. So if you've looked at your energy bills, recently they've gone up massively, like crazy amounts. So I think even like hundreds of percent, it's gone up massively. So this has caused massive amounts of people in the the actual how much people are paying for their gas bills. So that's the other thing that's gone up. And food prices on the back of this as well. There was a lot of Ukraine created a lot of food, and with the invasion from Russia, that means the food prices have gone up. So that's one of the things. So we're also facing another crisis, the environmental crisis. So the world is warming. So this is scary times. So the world is warming, ice caps are melting, sea levels are rising. So this is scary times. And never before have millennials actually faced these problems before. So we're actually facing these problems that we've never actually faced in the past. And there's a close balance of the biosphere. So this is scary times, but there is a good way to actually solve these problems. And we're going to reveal it at the end. Sneak peek. Essentially, you can now invest in companies that do good compared to companies that do bad. So you can actually control what companies you're invested in. And this is a great way to actually control the environmental crisis. So if you're just joining me here, we're going live on TikTok. Thanks for joining me. This is Money Tips. Please like, please subscribe, please tell a friend. I'm going to give away loads of tips, practical tips on how you can not just survive, but to thrive in this today's world. So we're going through these different crises, and I just thought I'd get on the lives and on YouTube Live, and also just to go through. A lot of people are stressed and worried at the moment, and to try and give you practical tips on how to actually navigate these kind of tough times. So yeah, stay right to the end, because we're going to give away loads of actual value, and actually going to go through. Stay right to the end. Just subscribe and send me a message. I'll give you a free tip. We'll give you the three laws of money, and also how to automate your finances to give yourself more me time. So if you're joining us here, just send me a message and I'll send that right over to you, or go to moneytips.org. Money Tips, but with 2 P's. So moneytips.org, and you can go and go and get some freebies there. There's a free training on how to automate your finances to give yourself more me time. This is going to give you more time in your day, more money in your pocket, and less stress in your life. So we've covered 2 crises already. We're going to go through 7 at the moment, and essentially how we can solve these crises, what you need to do, practical steps. So we've covered cost of living crisis, environmental crisis, and we've had a coronavirus. So yeah, everyone's been in lockdown. These have been tough times as well. We've had a lot of people in lockdown, and this has been a knock-on effect. Never before have we had these kind of world pandemics. There was a world pandemic in kind of the 1930s or 1920s, but not for ages. We've had these kind of tough times. So this has had an impact on people's mental health. We've had an impact on the economy, and had an impact on loads of other things that have had these kind of tough times. So that's another thing that we've been in crisis. We're living through kind of tough times at the moment, kind of the best of times, the worst of times. So the next crisis, kind of mental health crisis, which has led on to coronavirus. Because we've been in lockdown for so long, we haven't been seeing our friends and family. This has led to mental health crisis. So suicide is the highest rate it's ever been. Imagine that. So more people kill themselves than ever before. It's just sad times. I know people that have killed themselves as well, which is real sad times. I'm just going to put my charger in. But there are ways to essentially reduce your stress and worry around these kind of tough times. You can actually, just by doing things like having an emergency fund. So you actually got an emergency fund where you can have whatever happens in the world, you'll be all right. You've got whatever's going to happen. You've got, if the price goes up, if the boiler breaks down your house, you can cover that. If your house, if the landlord kicks you out of your house, you have an emergency fund that is going to cover you for any emergencies. If your car breaks down, you have an emergency, and you have an emergency fund that's going to cover you for any worries in your life. And this is going to be a massive peace of mind, and it's going to reduce your stress and worry. So the political crisis, the next level, so that's the mental health crisis. So let's go to the political crisis. So in the UK, we've had Brexit. So Brexit was kind of a disastrous time for many people. Many millennials didn't want Brexit happening. It kind of cut us off from the rest of Europe, cut us off from the rest of the world. and kind of isolated us from the rest of the world. And it's kind of, yeah, also we've got a conservative government in the UK, which is not kind of following the wishes from most ordinary people. It's kind of, they've kind of come out with a number of policies that are going to support the rich and not for ordinary people, ordinary working people. So we've got kind of political crisis, and this is kind of, yeah, not good for many people. So this is another way that we're going to cover this kind of world in crisis. And then we're going to cover sort of the next one is the economical crisis. So essentially we've been in the deepest, darkest recession in the history of records. So, and yeah, it's a scary time. But there is good news. So there is good news that we are heading towards a new, the third industrial age. So essentially there's never been before. So we've got loads of technology that's going to come on. It's going to improve our lives. So AI, things like blockchain, things like improve energy supplies, improving computing, massive quantum mechanics, satellites. There's so much kind of technology that's out there at the moment that's going to make our lives much easier. And you can actually invest in these kind of amazing technologies. You can actually go out and put your money and into these companies, and these companies are going to grow, provide profits, provide dividends, and you can actually benefit from these companies that are growing massively. And this is good news. So, and we've also got currency crisis. So currency crisis, if the pound dropped for the, it's the lowest amount against the pound, against the dollar, sorry, on record. This is massive in the UK, and this is going to, if you're the pound in your pockets, it's worth less than it has been ever before. These are tough times. So that's the 7 crises that we are facing at the moment, and we're going to now go into how you can solve these crises. So stay right there, and we're going to give away as much tips as possible, and this is going to actually impact your life, and this is going to impact your mental health, and it's going to impact your stress and worry. So we're going to actually give away the tips how you're actually going to solve these crises. So let's go through the world in crisis, how to thrive and survive in these tough times. So we've gone through the cost of living crisis, we've gone through the environmental crisis, we've gone through the corona crisis, we've gone through the mental health crisis, we've gone through the political crisis, we've gone through the economical crisis, and we've gone through the currency crisis. So what do you need to do? You need to break out the matrix. So the old rules don't apply anymore. So you can't follow the old rules that the school taught you or that your parents taught you. You go to school, get a good education, study hard, get a good quality job, and then go and get a pension. This won't work anymore. I've tried and tested this, and this didn't work. So I went to university, I got good grades, I got a good job, I worked for Shell trading. I got made redundant from that job, and it kind of gave me an opportunity to say, actually, what do I want to do with myself? So this doesn't work anymore. So you're going to go through a constant stream of reapplying for your job. You're going to go through a constant stress and worry. So what do you need to do? So you need to buy assets. Simple as that. Buy assets. Let me say it again. Buy assets. So what are our assets now? So assets are something that puts money into your pocket, whereas a liability is something that takes money out of your pocket. So what are assets? This could be the roof over your head. This could be businesses in the stock market. This could be bonds where you're lending money to governments or companies. So this is essentially all you need to do. Buy assets to break out the matrix. So what's the matrix? The matrix is what we're all going through in our life. So you may have noticed it. It's what you've kind of been fed, what we've been fed in the media, in the government, in the corporations as well. They want you to buy more things, so it makes them more profit. So what do you want to do? You want to be buying assets that are going to put money into your pocket. So you start off small. So even if you're on minimum wage, if you get paid £10 an hour, just think that £1, you need to put that £1 back into an asset. You need to pay yourself first. So you maybe be, Neil, I get the end of the month and I've got nothing left. I've got to pay these high bills. I've got to pay my landlord. I've got to pay the food on my plate. Yes, this is true. But you need to start the habit early. So as soon as you get paid, that first pound coin in your back pocket, you need to go back into you. You need to start saving, then start investing, and then buying assets. And then you can break out of the matrix. And what does this mean? This means that you're going to start having assets that are going to start paying you an income. So once you start having assets that pay you an income, then you can be free to be, you have security, that you're not going to be worrying about the next round of job cuts. You're not going to be worried about the next round of environmental, the cost of living. You're not going to be worried about the price going up, because you're going to have assets that are going to work for you. You're going to have people going to be living in your house that are going to be paying you a rent, and that's going to be your income. This may sound a long-term strategy. It may sound it might take a long time. Yes, it will take a long time. You have to think decades, not days. Decades, not days. Decades, not days. So you've got to think long-term. And yeah, this is the way to break out the matrix. So my name is Neil Doig. I'm the author of Millennial Money Mindset. If you want the fruits, you need the roots. It was shortlisted by the Financial Times in 2018. Creator of Football Formation Asset Allocation. And I help people build assets that are going to pay them an income, so they are going to they can choose to work for joy rather than working for necessity. So this is buying assets that's going to put money into your pocket. This is buying land, this is buying businesses, and this is having reserves in your bank that are going to pay you an income, so you can work for joy rather than working for necessity. So this is having land, business, and reserves. So the rules have changed. The old rules don't apply anymore. So if you are following the old rules of going to school, get good grades, get a job, stay in a safe, secure job, and then unfortunately, this is the old rules. These rules worked in the 1960s. We're in 2022, and these rules don't work anymore. You need to buy assets. That's all you have to do. This is the main takeaway from this live. So takeaway from this live, buy assets. And that means that because the currency in your back pocket is devaluing. If you look, going back to the 16th century, I've got a graph, and essentially it's going down because the currency is being devalued. The pound in your back pocket, the dollar in your back pocket, the euro in the back pocket is decreasing in value over time. You need to buy assets that go up in value. You need to own the means of production. You need to own the factories. You need to own the energy providers. You need to own the water providers. You can actually buy a piece of this business. You can go to the stock market and own a piece of this business, and then they're going to pay you an income every quarter. I get a check in the post that get paid to me. I don't need to go to work because people are going to work for me because I own assets. This is the new rules of the 2022. So this has been live. Please please subscribe, and please tell a friend about money tips. This is my book, Millennial Money Mindset. If you want the fruits, you need the roots. It's available on Amazon. Check that out. It's everyone gets a copy. Every book that's bought, we plant a tree, so to help the environmental crisis. We also give you a 5-step method to getting money into your pocket, time your day, and happiness in your life. And we also give you some free training on how to automate your savings to give yourself some more me time. So pick up a copy on Amazon today, Millennial Money Mindset. And I've also got the card game, Football Formation Asset Allocation. Please please subscribe, and please tell a friend about Money Tips and Millennial Money Mindset. Money Tips is my company. It stands for tax, investment, property, pension, savings. And the aim of our company is to get you closer to financial independence and retire early, so you can live the life you want to live. So you can choose to work for joy rather than working for necessity. So my name is Neil Doig. I'm the founder of Money Tips. Please please subscribe, and please tell a friend. Today we covered world in crisis, a bit of a dark and desperate kind of live we did today. We covered the 7 crises we're all facing, and then we gave you the solutions to these crises and how you can solve these crises yourself. And the secret is to buy assets that are going to put money into your pocket. So hopefully this has been useful. Yes, so tell a friend, please please subscribe. And yeah, my name is Neil Doig. Please please subscribe. And